while I'm driving, so as I'm driving, I've got a clear sense of the theme that I want to cover here. So my name is Curtis Jordan. I'm the lead security engineer at TruSTAR Technology. I'm a cybersecurity company that specializes in information engineering. I've been in cybersecurity for a long time. We'll dig into that in a second here. So I am an Army veteran. I grew up in Germany, and my father was like, hey, maybe you should go to the Air Force. It wasn't so fun. And I was like, I'm going to join the Army. And that's what I did. I did this before college. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do coming out of high school, so I was like, I'll go join the Army. And in the military, I did cryptographic repair. They were like, here, we're going to teach you to repair this particular device. I was like, I like technology well enough, why not? And my very first duty station, they were like, what'd you learn? Yeah, don't do that. Sensors and radars. And they give me this big dusty tome that say, go learn that. And I was like, okay. And so I started teaching that. And the very next unit, they were like, what'd you do the previous 2 times? No, we want you to do microwave and fiber optics for AFN instead. And so my job title is 35 Echo in the military. They call it 35 everything because they're like, that guy knows electronics, give it to him. And so that's how I started in technology. That was the background. I learned something and someone said, yeah, that's close enough. Do this instead. And so it's this constant close enough. And that has been a theme in my life. So I finished the military and I was looking around and I was like, Georgia Tech's a pretty good school. I should go there. And they were like, that's a really hard school to get into. And I was like, that should be okay. And someone else told me this. I was like, don't worry, you'll get in. Worry about getting out. You'll often meet Georgia Tech grads who, we meet each other and like, hey, so when did you get out? And we speak about it almost like a prison thing. Like, oh, I got out in 2009. I got out in 74. And you're like, oh, nice to meet you. It's that sort of vibe to tech because I think education should always be rigorous, but I think a lot of times in high school and things like that growing up, we're taught to memorize a lot of things. And Georgia Tech was like, well, it wasn't Georgia Tech's professors were like, I'm famous, I wrote a book, I want to do my own research. Go teach yourself. And then they go do their research, and suddenly it's like, you realize I have to learn how to figure out things. There is no right answer to remember. It's constantly figuring out the problem. And that is, again, another thing that's continued throughout my life. So at Georgia Tech, I knew that, okay, well, I definitely like technology and I like doing some cool things. I got to do some cool projects. One of those was doing this robotics competition that Georgia Tech is one of the hosts for. A lot of high schools participate. And I participated. It looks like it's really cool. I built a little robot that can navigate a room or an obstacle course using sonar to detect when it's going to run to an obstacle and navigate around. Actually won. It was like, this is fun. It's not fun. And I was still unsure about exactly what I wanted to do in technology, so I do electrical engineering. And then I got to do the Da Vinci robot. Does anyone know about this particular machine? This is the coolest thing ever. This was the thing that made me say, okay, I will do technology until I die. This is so cool. The Da Vinci robot was supposed to be in the original design. I actually spoke to the doctor recently about this recently, so things have changed. But originally, this robot is actually a robot assist. The doctor actually has a little control panel that he sits down to. His forehead has to be against this panel where we have 2 fiber optic lines running through a tube, and it gives the doctor stereoscopic vision. So if you see someone that says, oh, I had heart surgery, they're like, let me show you the scar. And they show you 3 little scars, a centimeter each. You're like, that's not heart surgery. That's all that this takes. There's one cut for the camera and one for each of the little robotic arms. And the doctor would, these little arms have the ability to full range of motion of the two hands. So turn, then up and down, in and out. So the doctor, whatever he can do with his hands, he can do with this little machine. And he'd switch out these little connectors here, and that would allow him to, do cuts or to grab something or pinch or clamp something down. And so that's all you need nurses there for, is to switch out arms for the doctor. And so the original purpose was we were going to have the original concept. The idea was we're going to have the best surgeons in the world do surgery for soldiers in Iraq. And this was back in 2007. There's a fiber optic line. There's a little bit of a delay, and like realizing that we had to deal with these delays and the software would program these issues out. We came up with solutions to other things. A lot of doctors, as they get older, particularly surgeons, at some point they reach a point where they start to have tremors. And so it's like they have the knowledge and the skill that you can't take 30 years of knowledge and place it in into a new doctor's head. Like it takes time to get that feel. But we realized, yeah, actually, in dealing with the latency issue for the vintage robot, we could program that out too. So you can take this doctor who, okay, you've got 20 years to do surgeries, and you need to go teach or do something else. He's like, no, I've got another 20 years, because the machine actually filters that information out in the software, which is really, really fun. Yeah. This was a fun project. I learned from a cardiologist recently that they stripped out the fiber optic communication thing where you can do remote surgeries. I was like, why would you do that? That was the coolest part. But it's still a very, very cool thing. This is what made me like, okay, I definitely want to be in technology. So I finished Georgia Tech, and the first company I went to, on the whole, just like the Army. Oh, you did embedded systems. And embedded systems is the sort of the hardware and software interface where the two meet initially. So this is in your cell phones, your every single device. If your device is a battery, I can almost guarantee there's embedded software in those systems. Even your kids' toys that make little noise and whatnot. Yeah, that some guy sat down and programmed what little lights go on and off. And so I knew that's what I wanted to do, and I focused on this in university. And I come out and they go, oh, that's really awesome. You want to do software? Just pure software. You're going to be a developer. And I was like, okay. That's kind of been the role that's gone through the military and everywhere else. So I did that with, at the time it was DRT, got purchased by Boeing. And at Boeing, there was a particular device that was owned by a German company that supplied us this little card that's going to plug into our backplane, and we'll get audio data off of it. And for years, it's an old device. The code base was kind of crazy anyway. I don't know if you guys know some of the details of that stuff, but multiple inheritance, it's a nightmare. But anyway, so this device, we made a change in our backplane. We upgraded our system where we had this new thing. And all of a sudden, this device, whenever you plugged it in, your machine would always run out of memory. And sometimes in engineering, we do crazy things. So it was like we have 12 gigs, 12 gig memory stick. We're just going to have everything there. And you put this card in, and you run out of space in 12 hours. The answer is the solution? Put 24 gigs in, right? Oh, that didn't work. 64? And so it was just extending how much time that we, before it ran out of space, but it always ran out of space. And so Paul, the engineering manager, he comes to me and says, Curtis, I called the company and asked, hey, this is broken, we don't know why, can you tell us what's going on? They sent us this paper here and told us that their senior engineer that designed this thing and built it and wrote it, he quit. Here's the documentation. It was from 1999, coffee stained and dusty. And it's like, when you say out of date, I mean like the initial design work, and that was it. So I got into reverse engineering. And I went about the hardest way possible because it was, again, one of those, figure it out. Okay, that's what tech taught me, and it's systems, so off I go. And I figure it out. This little machine has a little test pin, and pretty common in hardware design, have a little pin that tells me, am I getting what I expect to get back? Well, this little pin that we added to our backplane unknowingly would save a message every time. So say your average 3.5-minute song has, 10,000 packets for you to hear this song. This little machine would take every single packet and say, save it to the disk, say, yep, I got that. Yep, I got that. Yep, I got that. And so you run out of space because this one little pin was saving over and over to your hard drive. Yes, I got that. And so crashing a $250,000 system because of that one little thing. So sometimes in software the details really matter. But again, there's this underpinning of the importance of those things. And so I finished at Boeing, and Booz Allen is like, I heard you reverse engineered a piece of hardware that's pretty tough. It's like, yeah, I use soft ice. I'm like, oh, that was bad. It's like, I didn't know it. So they're like, well, we have a different job for you. It's reverse engineering malware. Same thing, but close enough. I'll do it. So I jumped into malware reverse engineering. There's some super sharp people there that was able to actually coach, kind of give me some guidance there. So I was able to learn a lot, to do a lot that I probably would have had a much harder time doing on my own. And I know there's a layoff. And one of the things I think I opened this slide with the door that opened doors. So the first company with Boeing bought my company, bought our competitor, and then bought our #1 customer. Did they overlap much? So then there's a massive layoff, and I'm in that layoff. I'm like, oh, this sucks. And they're like, oh yeah, but we've messed up an FCC rule, so you get paid for 6 months. And my first son was born then, so I was like, sweet, hey little guy, I'm gonna hang out for a while. And sure enough, near the end of that 6 months, I was like, I should send out a resume. Picked up right away. Awesome. So I ended up at Booz Allen, and they were like, oh, we're gonna miss quarterly earnings. We should just lay off whoever doesn't fit this category, and then we'll make our earnings, and then we'll hire everybody back. Laid off, and I was like, oh, that's terrible. And I put my resume out there, and a week later, hired. I was like, oh, this is kind of awesome. It's a door that. So I started engineering and technology, and I learned programming. It was like this door. I open this door, and the door itself opens up another door. It's like, this is awesome. I just stroll along. So with
Alice.
Yes. I'll say again?
I said Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, yeah, something like that.
Some are really big.
Right, something like that.
But they always end up in some kind of adventure.
Right. And so it was an adventure. So I got laid off at Booz Allen, and they were like, 2 months later, like, hey, can we hire you back? Because at Booz Allen, we were a black box lab that took in malware from different agencies that had been hit within the U.S. government and from other parts of our government. They were like, hey, I want to know what that does and how to repurpose it. And that's what we were good at, and it was a pretty legendary lab. And they got rid of about 4 or 5 of us, so like half the lab. And they realized that customers like, hey, that black box lab, we want to use those guys again. And Booz was like, oh, we don't have them. Hey, would you like to come back? We'd give you a raise. And I was like, no, I'm already working for another company. Right. So it was like, and so for a lot of people, they get laid off, and they're like, oh God, what am I going to do? And now I'm kind of like, oh, I guess I'm going to get another raise. Because that's been the pattern I've seen. So it's like this love of technology that gave me all these opportunities that I didn't expect. And so for 5 years, I worked for an amazing company in Baltimore by the name of Cyberpoint International, where they were like, you do reverse engineering. Awesome. Can you develop exploits? Now, this is like someone saying, oh yeah, I'm a mechanic, I can fix cars. Can you build me one? Like design and just build it whole. Technically, I guess I can, but it's not the same thing. It's one thing to repair something that's there, and an entire different piece to build it from scratch and get it out the door. But that's what they asked me, and all I guys have been different in the past, so right. So I jumped into that, and it was pretty cool, and that company really busy. We had a 3-part to our business: government, commercial, international, and this was the CEO was a really sharp guy, still is a good friend to me, and he's like, oh, we're split 33% between all branches, and then we lost to international. Who wants to guess was it 33%? Try 80% of the business. So all of a sudden there's this big scramble to make the company survive. It's like, okay, only if you're in the government sector can we keep you. Everybody else we have to let go. And I was like, yeah, HR's like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's been like this big family for the last 5 years, and they're all distraught. And I'm kind of looking at my life, and I say, no, it's okay. Don't worry. They're like, oh, I don't know why you're comfortable with me. I was like, it'll be okay. And I go home and get a massage, and as I'm leaving, one of our old customers calls, like, I heard you got laid off. Can you come work for us? Like, tomorrow. And I was like, what? And it's not been 24 hours. So the next day, I had a job that was paying a lot more because they were like, we're going to have you as a security consultant. And it was actually TruSTAR that picked me up under those conditions. They were like, we're going to have you on board and just have you as a consultant right now, because they had no plans, no intentions. They didn't know what, they just needed the help, my background. And so I've been doing reverse engineering and all these sort of gray hat things where I either act as a black hat hacker or as a white hat security guy, but I have to know what the bad guys are doing, and I do some of those things. And they were like, so if I showed you something, could you look at the pattern and tell me what's happening? And now the company before, TruSTAR, how I got the job, they brought me in and was like, all right, Curtis, so here's some code. I want you to walk me through what you're thinking. And they're showing me machine code. I don't know if anyone has seen that. I wish I'd put up a picture. It's just, it's literally one level over ones and zeros. It's sort of like A, AEF, or whatever.
Yeah, we see the matrix.
Yeah, something like that. But I've been doing the work for so long that when they showed this to me, they're like, walk me through what you're thinking. I'm just like, that's a packer, that's the decryptor for that packer, this here's an XOR decryptor. And so I'm just calling out patterns in the code of what I see. And it was a guy by the name of Greg Linares and Nate Rogers. They're like, hired, done. And so that's not that one. But, pulling on that knowledge, hey, I've done all this work in the background. Paul Kurtz, the CEO of TruSTAR, said, if I show you patterns, can you tell me what's happening? And he hands me a single IP address out over here. This one IP address. Now I've had time learning how to get into systems or to pull things off. And in this case, I didn't have to hack the system to get what was on there. The hacker in question wasn't being careful when he started his botnet. He was simply, if you know what URI to look for in this code, call it and you'll get the file that you want. So it was like, oh, it's a DDoS botnet. And I was like, and at the time when Paul was introducing me to this, I was like, yeah, I think you do. And over the next couple of days, I watched this botnet spin up in real time. Now, do you guys know what a botnet is? Do you guys?
No.
So, tech guy, if I'm saying something that's Greek, call me on it. So a botnet is when a hacker puts malicious code on your machine so that he can control your machine. So if I want Amazon to go down, which Amazon is robust right now, it would be really hard to put Amazon down, but say I want some company to not be able to provide their services anymore. I'm going to take over all of your machines, all of your friends' machines, everyone's machines I can get my hands on, and then have all of those machines hit their website at the same time. And so all of a sudden they have so much traffic that they can't actually do anything. They can't make sales, they're half the time the website itself will crash. And that's called a denial of service attack, DDoS attack. So that's precisely what kind of botnet this was. This was someone started with 2 servers, they started taking over other machines until they had enough machines to do damage. And the funny thing was, I was tracking their network before they ever put it into use. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And so I became sort of a TruSTAR spokesperson, taking in customer data and saying, here's what we're seeing, and I've been tracking this thing since this point. And now every company I've come to, I've yet to see someone who hasn't been hit by this botnet, or at least probed by it. And it's, as it changes with new tools, new ways of doing things.
Do you know where it's coming from?
For this particular one, no. Attribution is one of the hardest things in cybersecurity. Sometimes people make it easy because back in the old hacker days, I want to make a name for myself, and so I have my handle. And some of those guys still apply to those rules. EI Test is one of those groups where, like, these days I'm starting to suspect that the reason they do this is so that security researchers aren't the one that, get their payloads, get the actual bad thing they want to get on people's machines. Because, Mom and Joe, they won't know to block this thing, but if I see that EI Test, I'm going to automatically block it. So they leave that little tag and they'll say, hey, this is EI Test on the scene or whatever. And so that was one of those things of like, okay, that's pretty neat.
Artists.
So,
They like to leave their artwork.
yeah, it's a, what do we call it? Artist or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, so-and-so is on the scene or someone, so-and-so is controlling things or whatever. And I've actually had friends that, I was introducing to a company I was working for and I want to get them hired, and they exchange handles like, oh, I'm Hecky, I'm Rage. And they're, Rage? And they worked with each other back in the day on like, something that they shouldn't have been doing. And the government's like, hey, we have a job for you. And I was like, I know you. So, hired. So it was, one of those really cool things. And so there's this common thread. I'm looking at like this whole technology, but I realized that like that programming knowledge, being able to program, understanding that every piece of technology that we have in our lives right now that permeates literally everything around us relies on programming. I really can't think of many things that are electronic that has any sort of control to it that does not require some sort of programming anymore. I used to, like when I first learned electronics in the military, it was the old school thing where you had these big vacuum tubes that were kind of being phased out. You had these clunky circuit boards where there was a pin to do every little motion that, if there was a switch that went up and down, 2 pins. It's that sort of thing. And now it's all software, So the question is, how do we get kids introduced to programming, teaching kids to code? And these are my 3 little minions, Max, Aiden, and Lucas there. And they haven't learned to program yet. They're not old enough. But soon, my minions will do it. And so I was looking for ways to teach kids to program. And I was lucky enough that one of my gym, so a friend of the gym, she's a 1st grade teacher, and she was like, hey, you guys are engineers, right? Can you help me out with a little project? I want to teach kids to code. And so we're looking around at what's out there. What can we get kids to learn to program? And there are a lot of options out there. The reason I paused when you said Alice is because I thought you were just referring to one of those. There's Scratch, Alice, Lightbot. Minecraft actually has some things for kids to actually learn to program that are really, really cool. Code Combat is a cool one. If you're a teacher and you don't know anything about programming, you don't have access to engineers, come in and sit down with the kids and kind of walk them through what to do. It provides a lot of information on how to do it, which is really, really nice. I'll leave that up for a second there. But I'm actually going to walk you guys through one that's really easy. Have any of you heard of the Hour of Code?
Yeah.
Yes.
The hour code.
The Hour of Code. So we're going to walk through that one. That one's super simple, and it's actually pretty spot on for what we would call pseudocode. You know, when I'm writing a program, let's say I'm going to write a program, get dressed. There is a certain order to which things must be done in order to accomplish getting dressed. If I put on I button up my shirt and then put on my tank top, I've done things wrong, right? Put on my shoes and then put on my socks. It's the wrong order. So that's the logic, the flow logic that we're teaching kids first with a lot of these programs, which is really helpful. And so we're going to walk through one of those here in a second. But one I wanted to point out is Alice. Do any of you know the name Randy Pausch? Oh my goodness. Randy Pausch is a wonderful, wonderful man. He passed away a couple of years ago. He was a professor at Carnegie Mellon. And I'll bring the slide back up.
The last lecture. Yeah.
Yes, the last lecture, exactly. But Randy Pausch helped build Alice. Now, are there any high school teachers here? So, middle school, maybe even middle school. This one was really cool because it allowed kids to combine programming with storytelling. So they literally make little movies, so to speak, where they take little avatars or whatever and write the story as a program. So that if the character needs to walk someplace, well, then I need a loop that says, until chair is reached, step left, then right, and repeat. And so they'd have to make that loop, and that's programming. That's I can't say step right, step right, step right, step right until I reach the chair. Or if I say, if I make a loop and I say step left and right and go that way, and I don't say when to stop, and the character just walks until he walks into a wall somewhere because there's no limit set. So this one is cool for storytelling and for older kids.
And play.
Yes, and it's fun. It's actually a really cool thing.
Try it out.
I'm doing NaNoWriMo next month, National Novel Writing Month next month. And so for some of the
What's it called?
National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo. See, fun for those guys.
What is it?
National Novel Writing Month is a challenge to write a full novel, 50,000 words, in 1 month. It's a little bit of a pain because you have Thanksgiving thrown in there, and so you have to finish it in that time. And it's always a mad dash to the finish, and like whatever you write is 80% garbage. But if you got the story out, at least you have something to edit now and to work on rewriting or whatever. So I have a fun story in mind. But that's one of those things where if kids like writing stories, it's something my boys do already. They actually sit down and write little stories. So as they get older, they can actually start animating or putting their stories into code and throwing it into Alice, which would be really cool. But the one we're going to go through today is code.org. And this one is really cool because this one we did with a first grade class. They got themselves a whole bunch of iPads. You can do it on any tablet, laptop, whatever. And we sat down with these little guys, and it was amazing. Actually, we did it with a first grade class and a kindergarten class.
Yeah, because they
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they can actually do it. And it's kind of cool, like, getting kids to think in sort of a logic flow. If I want to accomplish something, what are the steps I must do to make that happen? And so it's one of those things that Randy Pausch called a head fake, where you say, oh, I'm teaching you coding, but you're also teaching them something else that they don't see, that head fake. And sometimes I feel that way, especially when I sit down with the kids that day and walking through, it's like you see kids that are like kind of bouncing around, and all of a sudden they're trying to figure out a puzzle that's kind of fun. It's like they have the option of doing Star Wars, Frozen, and Minecraft. And so all of a sudden, like, they like this thing, and suddenly, they were supposed to be learning code, but like suddenly they're practicing patience and focus, and working on logic and things like that. So there's some nice head fakes in that regard. And for Laura, like all the next step, like, oh, you're so good, this is awesome, let's do this again. So it's one of those cool head fakes there that happen. And that's not the end. We're actually going to go over and play around with this. So this is the site, code.org. And if you click through to our code over here, you can actually test it out. So the kids can do Minecraft, Star Wars, or code and an Elsa from Frozen. So you guys want to vote for which video? Want to do Frozen?
Star Wars.
This one I do Star Wars.
Frozen.
Nerd, so I always do Star Wars. So let's
do Star Wars.
all right. So it says starting age 6, was that what? First grade? First grade. First grade. Well, kindergarten can pull it off too. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
We're tethering off my phone for internet. So maybe a little slow. So it's going to walk us through and levels. We'll start very, very simple and increase difficulty. And they do a really good job of simplifying so the kids can actually do this on their own. Or with, minimal help. Let's see, I think we're going to need a little volume boost. I'm not sure that will even load for us. All right, we're past that. So there's a little intro video to tell you about it. I want to go too. All right, so we're going to have BB-8 go collect some scrap metal there for us. And this one's, it's simple, right? It's right in front of them, so what do we need to do? Move right 1, 2 times, and we're there. So this is one of those things where the first couple times let the kids try and fail, so they start figuring things out, figuring out what happens. And literally to do the coding, all they do is drag it, drop it, and hit run. So the BB-8 moves right twice, and he's accomplished his goal. Congratulations.
This is good for kindergartners because they can learn to read too.
Right. Well, for the kindergartners, we sit down with them and kind of walk, like, what I ask them, what should I do to go there? And they'll tell me. So we need to move this one. They can do on the iPad, they can do the drag and drop themselves. That's this one, drag and drop it, and you're good to go. I should test this out with my son sometime, my oldest.
Yeah.
So can I just, I like this.
Yes.
There's one thing I don't love about it, and that is, it doesn't show the code to the right, but you can, in the
Yes.
top right corner, click it.
Right.
I wish it was a split screen so that the kids could match
Right.
their block with their code, but I think that getting kids in the habit of looking at their code after they drag the blocks is
Right.
really important.
I wish that I had a marker board in here. I can do it for you.
Can you click show code?
You can click show code in the top
Yeah,
right corner,
here.
Yeah.
but it gives
And
you,
you can look at it at the end too to see that you got the right, everything
Yeah.
right.
That's the code.
Yeah, so this here is a block-based JavaScript. I prefer C or C++ or
Yeah.
something like that, but
Why is that
it
even-
works. Because of web browsers and a lot of the browser applications out there, it's also very popular for hackers because it's a great way to hide things. There's so many ways to hide malicious things in JavaScript that you guys want to go home paranoid? Your antiviruses are useless. I've tested something like 14 of them, and it's so rare that I can't find something that I can get around that I literally am just like, I put it up as like a low-hanging fruit for like those pieces of malware that are so simple that they should be blocked, that you almost know you can just natural like, this medicine will make you live forever. Click this button. Yeah, no. That's what antiviruses block. But things that people want to get by, it's very easy to do it with JavaScript. So actually, we'll do one more here. So we're going to move right 2 times, down 2 times, so that BB-8 collects everything here. Lagging. There we go. And then we'll show the code after each of them. So that's our code for this particular language. What's missing on this particular example is like the headers and things like that. We're going into coding the actual code blocks, but just for kids, this is the basics of what they need to know. And so then they hit run, and they get another big congratulations. They did it. And kids get a pretty big kick out of that. And I think we had audio, there's like some slow little tune that plays that kids get a big kick out of as well. And so at the end it shows code as well. So that's nice to see it. So let's see if we can jump to something a little more complicated. lot of these programs that help kids learn to code for the teacher side. There's actually things where you can track what the kids are doing at home. Like, do they go home and do a little more with this? They try to learn a little something extra. That's really cool. And helping them out and things like that. So that's also kind of fun. So can you make 2 mouse droids appear when you get 1 mouse droid? Maybe I should walk through all the way before jumping ahead. That mouse droid. No, that's not too bad, I guess. Okay, so this is our first loop. Let's see here. Can you get 2 mouse droids appear every time I use 1 mouse droid? So you have to make people catch the bottom. All right. So yes, so then that'll be a loop there where I said, until chair is reached, left, right, walk, left, right. So this is one of those things where we're working on programming loops. 4 loops are, for X number of things, or 4 given, this starting number, given the starting at 0, keep counting until you get to 100. That's a for loop. A while loop, while I have not reached the back wall, continue walking forward, things like that. So these little programs like this, they're simplistic, and they escalate in difficulty, but what the kids are learning are legitimately, I could sit them down immediately after doing this and show them how to do this in C or C++ or assembly, any other programming language. So like the basic of what they're learning there, those are where I was saying a door that opens doors. Having that knowledge in your back pocket in a world where, especially where we are in an information and technology economy, huge, huge thing. And one of the things that I was thinking about on the ride here that I wish I had time to do a slide for was, I think a lot of times as kids, we're thinking, I want to pick the fun door. That's all I really care about, what's the fun door. I'm not thinking about the future, unimportant, fun door. And sometimes the door that opens other doors for us seems like much more of a challenge. And sometimes seeing those cool products, the Da Vinci robot, or maybe starting with some little gaming type application like this, combines those 2 doors for kids and gives them opportunity to do much, much bigger things in their lives. Always have a way forward to that next goal. So that's it for me. Yeah.